say Shot City, Shot City, Shot City.
And welcome to Second City Sports Chat. I am your host, Ryan Ebner, alongside Pete Argus and the Dan, the Freakster Frigo. We're here for our special fantasy football edition, here to give you our amateur opinions, but opinions on top positions. We're basing this off of a PPR league, which means you get a point for every reception a receiver or running back, tight end make. We'll start off with quarterbacks. Pete, give me your top 10 quarterbacks for fantasy football.
Top 10, I have Aaron Rodgers as number 1, Drew Brees 2, 3, I got Cam Newton, 4, Peyton Manning, 5, Tom Brady, 6, Matty Ice, 7, Colin Kaepernick, 8, Romo, 9, Stafford, and 10, Andrew Luck.
Alrighty. Our top 5 are completely the same. I got Rodgers, Brees, Cam Newton, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. 6th, I got Tony Romo. Always a really big fancy quarterback guy. 7, I got Matty Ice. 8, Colin Kaepernick. 9, Matthew Stafford. And 10, Jay Cutler. Pete, break it down. What kind of your mentality, what your thought process, why you made the list the way you made it.
Well, Aaron, for the simple fact is, McCarthy just loves the fastball, and Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL. So he's going to keep putting up his stats. Drew's going to have a big bounce back year. I feel like Cam Newton, I know he doesn't have many weapons, but he can still run. He's a big guy, so he should maybe get a couple rushing yards and rushing touchdowns this year. Peyton, a lot of people have Peyton as 3. I feel like he's going to be a great quarterback. It's just, I don't know if he's going to put up the stats. So I got him at 4. 5, I got Brady, who's normally in the top 3, but he doesn't have many weapons this year. So I don't know if he's going to put up his monster stats that he normally does. 6, I got Matt Ryan because he's got 2 electric receivers with Julio Jones and Roddy White. 7, I got Kaepernick because of the Cam factor in terms of the speed and the rushing touchdowns he could possibly get, and adding Anquan Bolden and the other weapons they have in that offense. It's going to help them a lot. 8, I got Romo. Romo might not be the greatest quarterback to have, but he's absolutely fantastic fantasy quarterback. Produced a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards.
Win-loss ratio doesn't matter in fantasy football.
Yes. And I got Stafford at 9. I feel like when he has Megatron, the best wide receiver in the game, that helps you a lot. A lot of those jump balls, a lot of those easy touchdowns. And Detroit likes to throw the ball, so that should be good for him. But I feel like the addition of Reggie Bush should help out his passing stats and short little passes and stuff like that. And I got 10, Andrew Luck, because he is the Colts offense. So I feel like he'll produce this year. And he's kind of got the Kaepernick type of thing where he can use his legs. But I just like him for the simple fact that he is that offense.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. Rodgers, obviously, best quarterback in the NFL. Hands down, number 1 fantasy quarterback. Puts up monster numbers. Brees always puts up the touchdowns, always puts up the yards. Doesn't throw in too many picks, so he's a really solid option right there at 2. Cam, I will agree. The legs is what really gets him. He's so strong, gets you a lot of rushing yards and TDs. He's got a big cannon, get you those big 50-plus yard touchdowns, get you the bonus points. Peyton Manning, I got at 4th because, again, he's got a lot of weapons this year. He's got to spread the ball a lot, and that's going to give his stats going straight up. But I believe because he doesn't have that leg, the wow factor, it's just he's not really the top 3. Brady, I would put him at 4 above Peyton usually. Like you say, he's top 3 quarterback usually every year in fantasy. But like you said, not having a lot of weapons probably going to hurt his stock a little bit. Obviously, still not a bad thing to draft him. Tom Brady's going to get you points. At 6, I do have Tony Romo because, like you mentioned and I mentioned, Romo is one of the best fantasy quarterbacks statistically for the last few years. And I think with Dez and Jason Witten and Miles Austin, got a pretty good team, gets him some big points. I got Matty at 7 because, like you said, Roddy, Julio, huge. Also Tony Gonzalez, big names. He had a big year last year. I think he'll have a good year this year. Kaepernick at 8. The legs, the running factor really influenced a lot, which allows him to throw some more deep balls and he loosens up the defense, gets you a lot of good points. And I think him and Bolden have a very nice relationship there. Matt Stafford, because Matt Stafford usually, when he's healthy, puts up a lot of yards, a lot of TDs. That's what his strengths are. And he's got Megatron. You're going to score a lot of points either way then. And Reggie Bush running the ball, I think, will give him some more space and a little more time to throw the ball. And Jay Cutler at 10 sneaks into my top 10 because I think this year with a quarterback-oriented coach and Mark Trestman, his numbers go way up, throws a lot more touchdowns. Hopefully can keep the interceptions down. Not quite sure yet. Now, let's go, as we gave you our top 10, let's go with this position, the quarterback position, our sleeper and our bust. Pete, who's your sleeper?
I would say sleeper is Vic, Michael Vick of the Eagles. I feel like it's just really a game that Chip Kelly's playing with who's going to start. We all know Vic's probably going to start. I feel like with this type of offense, he's got a good chance to succeed and put up the fantasy numbers. And if he could stay healthy, he could be as high as like where Cam is because he can put up those type of numbers. And my bust is going to be Philip Rivers.
God, he's so bad.
I just don't like him. I don't like Philip Rivers. I never really have. I don't like his mentality and stuff like that. I've never liked him. And he's not a good fantasy quarterback. I mean, he's got Gates, but he doesn't really have many other weapons for him. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of interceptions this year. So, Philip Rivers is definitely my bust.
Yeah, my sleeper, I got the Red Rocket in Cincinnati, Andy Dalton. I think he's going to have a big, big year this year. Didn't get into my top 10, but he's a guy that, especially if you're drafting and you realize you draft a lot of running backs, receivers, and you're looking like, wow, I'm in the middle, late round, I really need to find, a quarterback start. Andy Dalton's a really good, viable option for you to be a good, consistent starter for you. My bust, I have Joe Flacco. Played great in the playoffs, but he sucked in the regular season. I had him. It was bad. I had him and Big Ben. It was really rough.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah. Doesn't get a lot. My other option, I was going to say, I wanted to mention, neither of us put RG3 in our top 10.
No, yeah.
Any comment on why you didn't put him in your top 10?
I know a lot of people have him in the top 10, but I feel like the rushing yards and stuff like that were a big thing for RG3 last year. But I feel like with the ACL injury, they're going to limit his runs. And I don't know if I trust him yet as a pocket passer. A lot of these guys are all, except for like Kaepernick and Cam, all these guys are pocket passers. So
but they have big weapons to go with those guys. Griffin really doesn't have anything besides Pierre Garçon, which is, still, I don't think he's really a number one option for him.
No.
And that's a problem, I think, and that's why I wouldn't put him as a bust, because I don't think he's a bust. I think he's a solid backup quarterback, or again, if you're late in the round, you really need to grab somebody. It's not awful to grab him, but I just don't think he's going to have the statistics to put him in the top 10. Let's shift to the running backs. We'll give you our top 20 this time. I'll start. 1, Adrian Peterson, hands down. 2, Jamal Charles. 3, Arian Foster. 4, LaShawn McCoy. 5, Doug Martin. 6, Ray Rice. At 7, I have CJ Spiller. 8, Chris Johnson, CJ2K. At 9, I got Skittles, Marshawn Lynch. At 10, Matt Forte. 11, Steve Ridley. 12, Alfred Morris. 13, Maurice Jones-Drew. 14, New Dirty Bird, Steven Jackson. 15, DeMarco Murray. 16, Reggie Bush. 17, Darren McFadden. 18, rookie from Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell. 19, I got Monty Ball, rookie in Denver. And 20th, I have Frank Gore. Pete?
My top 20 is very different from yours, right? Well, obviously, we have unanimously AP is number 1. Arian Foster, I got as number 2. Number 3, I got Ray Rice. 4, Jamal Charles. 5, I got Chris Johnson. I feel like he's going to have a really big bounce back year this year. 6, LaShawn McCoy. 7, CJ Spiller. 8, I got Skittles, Marshawn Lynch. Number 9, I got Trent Richardson, carrying the load in Cleveland. I got 10, Doug Martin. 11, Matt Forte. 12, DeMarco Murray. 13, Alfred Morris. 14, Stephen Ridley. 15, Steven Jackson. We both agree on 16 with Reggie Bush.
There we go.
And
well, you get one.
Yep, 17, I got Frank Gore. 18, Maurice Jones-Drew, 19 Lamar Miller, and 20 that's Eddie Lacy.
No, Eddie Lacy, the
Yep.
Packer.
Yep.
Yeah, real different. Trent Richardson's an interesting one. I glanced over him. He had a good year last year for Cleveland, and fantasy-wise he did. This year, I just don't believe that he's going to have a great year. He could easily get in the top 15, easy. If I look at it, it's not. A lot of people are drafting him really early. And
Yeah.
I think that's scary. I don't think so. Just like the Doug Martin thing, I have him at 5, but you still have to understand you're taking a risk because it's just one season. Now there's more film on the guy. A lot of things can change. Trent, the problem with Trent is if he doesn't get a lot of receptions, his stock goes down. So he's got to really hope that Weed can get the ball to him and do something. But I mean, it is a viable option because there's nobody else for him to get the ball to. So he's going to have to carry the load. We both agree with Reggie Bush 16. I think Reggie Bush in Detroit is huge. He could easily end the season in a top 10 running back because he's going to get a lot of catches, a lot of touchdowns, and things like that. I believe Matt Forte, I have him at 10, strictly because I think his rushing touchdowns go way down this year.
Yes.
But I think his receptions go way up. I think they're saying Trestman's looking to give him 70-plus receptions or something like that.
I think
That's huge. That's really, if that's the case, that's huge. But we'll wait and see with that one.
I think people are going to start to see Forte kind of look like, I mean, you can't really say this because it's all thing or but kind of like Marshall Faulk. They're going to try to do where he's going to split them out, and I think Trestman's going to try to use Forte more as not only a running back but just as a receiver and an asset on that offense.
And you need it because if you look at it, besides Brandon Marshall,
Who else?
I mean, you don't really have one. I mean, you have Earl Benny, you have Alshon Jeffrey. Those are really big ifs.
Yep.
So I think Forte has a big role in this passing game. You say Chris John's going to have a big bounce back year. I do agree with that. He's a huge option. If you're able to get him, if for some reason your draft falls and you're able to get him as your second running back, huge. If you have to draft him in your first, if the running backs are flying left, right, it's a good option as well.
Yep.
Not bad, but 2 would be perfect.
Yep.
LaShawn McCoy, I look at. What do you think of this year with him? I think he's going to have a really good year.
I got McCoy 6th because kind of like with the Vic thing, I feel like they're going to be pretty good offensively. I think in terms of fantasy, I feel like Vic's going to do a good job, and I feel like him and McCoy is definitely the best part of that offense, and I think Chip Kelly knows that. And Chip Kelly at Oregon,
running backs flourish
yes,
at Oregon.
so he knows how to get them touches. So I feel like McCoy is going to have a great year this year.
Yes, I agree. Let's go to our sleepers and busts for the running back position. Pete, start with you. Who's your sleeper? Who's your bust?
My sleeper is my guy in Green Bay. I got Eddie Lacy as my sleeper
I
because
like that.
because if you look at it, the Packers, they've been horrible on short yardage, and he could be the guy. Maybe instead of John Kuhn getting all those touchdowns, like all you fantasy owners, because you're always dreading, because John Kuhn gets like 2 touchdowns.
Right, no one wants to add him because
And then,
it's not viable
you
for him.
add him next week, and then he gets like 0 touches.
Right.
Those touches will now go to Eddie Lacy, and I feel like with that offense, he's going to get his touches. And I feel like the Packers are going to probably start to run the ball more if he can do well. In my bust, I got DeMarco Murray.
Okay.
I feel like, I mean, he's got the potential to be in the top 10.
Are you saying it because we drafted him last year? He got hurt.
You know what? It was a great trade when we got rid of him.
We did. We ended up getting Victor Cruz out of it. Nice move.
Yeah. And, no, I don't know what it is about DeMarco Murray. I don't trust him because I feel like he's going to get injured. So I think that's just my big thing. And I know that Dallas loves to throw the ball, and they have the weapons, so I feel like they're going to throw the ball more than run the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Eddie Lacy pick because I believe in Green Bay they needed a running back. They thought they got it with Sudbed. He got banged up.
Yep.
They really didn't have that option. But I do think he's going to get, like you said, he's going to get a lot of touches. That's why he's not really a top 10 running back because he's not going to get you the touches in a PPR league. But if you're not in a PPR league, it could be a really viable third running back, fourth running back because he's going to get you a lot of inside touchdowns. But my sleeper is Reggie Bush. I believe, like I said, Reggie Bush could easily be a top 10 running back this season, fantasy-wise. He's going to get a lot of catches. He's still explosive. He might even get you some return if they put him in the return game. Get you some touchdowns there. Get you a lot of running touchdowns. I think that's one guy to really watch this season. But as a bust, I'll go and I'll say David Wilson of the New York Football Giants.
Yes.
New York, historically, recently in recent years, has not run the ball very effectively. Matt Bradshaw hasn't been that big of a viable option in fantasy football. People like to add him, and there really was always, an on and off switch with him. David Wilson, I think, is the same way, but even less consistent. I think this is Eli's team. They're just going to keep airing out the ball. That's what they got. I don't think they're not really built to run the ball right now. That's the problem. So I don't think he's going to have a good year whatsoever. But let's move to receivers. I'll let Pete go first. We'll give you our top 20 here. Pete, let it rip.
Number 1, I got Megatron. Number 2, I got AJ Green. Number 3, I got Brandon Marshall. 4, I got Julio Jones. 5, Randall Cobb. But this is a PPR league, just to let everyone know. So I believe Cobb will get those touches.
Mm-hmm.
6, Des Bryant. 7, Roddy White. 8, Andre Johnson. 9, Demaryius Thomas. 10, Victor Cruz. 11, Wes Welker. 12, Larry Fitzgerald. 13, I got Vincent Jackson. 14, Jordy Nelson. 15, James Jones. 16, Marcus Colston. 17, Danny Amendola. 18, Hakeem Nicks. 19, Reggie Wayne. And 20, Eric Decker.
All right. I got Megatron at 1, obviously. AJ Green at 2. Because it's PPR league, I got Randall Cobb at 3.
Ooh.
I got Victor Cruz 4. Brandon Marshall 5. Julio Jones 6. Des Bryant 7th. Andre Johnson 8th. Roddy White 9. Larry Fitz 10. Vincent Jackson 11. Demaryius Thomas 12. Tavon Austin 13.
Ooh.
Reggie Wayne 14. Welker 15. Decker 16. Deshaun Jackson 17. Dwayne Bowe 18th. Amendola 19th. And Marquise Colston 20th. One thing you want? Agree, disagree?
With the wide receivers, I don't know, for PPR league, my top 20 might not be the greatest because with the Jordy Nelson, James Jones picks, those might be more for touchdowns. Cruz and Welker would be probably more valuable, I would say, than they might be because they might not get as much touchdowns, but definitely going to get more catches.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, we basically have the same 20. It's just really bundled up differently. Well, we definitely have the same top 2. Well, those are definitely the two best receivers.
Yeah, I think Calvin Johnson going to have another big Megatron year, and AJ Green going to keep flourishing. He might even be able to pass check Calvin, depending on the quarterback play, as number 1. And, people thought last year coming out he might have a sophomore slump or whatnot, and he really just flourished. He's flourished his entire career so far, and I believe it just keeps getting better and better. Brandon Marshall, I think he's going to have another big year. He's going to get a lot of touchdowns. He's going to get a lot of receptions because there's nobody else to throw the ball to.
And Jay only trusts really him.
Jay loves Brandon. They're biffles forever and ever and ever. Tavon Austin, I have 13th because I believe that is the Rams now. Sam Bradford's go-to guy.
Yes.
He's a big playmaker. They have a lot expected to him. From what I've been reading and hearing is that they're really happy with what he's already bringing to the table. That's huge. Deshaun Jackson, I think he automatically had to get pushed in because Jeremy Maclin going down. Deshaun's going to be one of the guys that gets the touches.
Yep.
There's not many other options for him, and he's going to get a lot of touchdowns as well.
Going back to the Tavon Austin thing, that's a great person to have in the top 20 because the PPR, I think they're going to use him kind of like how the Patriots used to use Welker and how the Broncos are going to use Welker and how the Packers are going to use Cobb where he's going to be a slot. He's going to take little screen catches, little slants and stuff like that. And
he's so explosive that he can get a big touchdown out of them.
Yeah, he can take a 5-yard pass and turn it into 60.
Right.
And that's big.
I agree. I'll give you my sleepers and my bust. My sleeper is Tavon Austin, rookie for St. Louis. I'm really high on him this year. I believe he's going to have a big season, and if you can get him late, which I think that's where he might start to fall to anybody here, I believe that's a great option as your third or fourth wide out. And my bust, I have Antonio Brown of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I said in the NFL preview, I said that the Steelers are going to be very, very bad this year. That will include that Antonio Brown statistics are going to be really, really bad. I think, yeah, he might get some catches, but I think as a whole, I don't think his numbers are going to be that high. Some people are higher on him because he's really the number one wideout in Pittsburgh, but I don't think he has that big good of a year whatsoever.
For my sleepers and my bust, I actually have two sleepers.
Okay.
I think Anquan Bolden can definitely be a sleeper.
Huge, yes.
Because I think Kaepernick really likes him and trusts him already. And
I think he looks at him as like a Randy Moss kind of thing, where that's his veteran blanket to go to.
And what's different about those two is Bolden will actually run the real routes.
Well,
Besides the go route.
He's younger.
Yeah, he'll run something different. And I also have Dwayne Bowe.
Ooh, yeah.
In Kansas City. I feel like who else is Alex Smith really going to throw to in Kansas City? And I feel like he can get a lot of red zone touchdowns. My bust, I kind of have two. I feel like Torrey Smith could be a bust potentially. I know he's the only one in Baltimore now, especially with Ed Dixon done for the season. I mean, not Ed Dixon. Dennis Pitta done for the season. And them losing Bolden, but I feel like he's going to see a lot of double coverage, and I don't think it's
not going to benefit him at all.
No. And another bust I have is a guy who signed a big contract this offseason, Mike Wallace.
Ooh,
in Miami.
Yes.
He was able to roam free in Pittsburgh because they had Antonio Brown, they had the other guys, Emmanuel Sanders, they had other receivers there. They don't really have anything in Miami, and he's going to see a lot of cover two. A lot of
Justin Keller can only help him so much with that.
A lot of two-man under. He's going to see a lot of safety help over the top, so it's going to be really tough for him to get those long touchdowns.
I agree very much so. Let's move to tight ends. We'll give you our top 10s here. Pete, start with you.
All right, I got Jimmy Graham, number 1. Number 2, Vernon Davis. 3, Jason Witten. 4, the Party Animal, Gronkowski. 5, Tony Gonzalez. 6, Kyle Rudolph. 7, Greg Olsen. 8, Antonio Gates. 9, Owen Daniels. And 10, Brandon Pettigrew.
All right, I got 1. I got Jimmy Graham. At 2, I got Jason Witten. 3, Vernon Davis. 4, Gronk. Yo soy fiesta. 5, Tony G. 6, Kyle Rudolph. 7, Antonio Gates, who I believe has a much bigger year than last. 8, Greg Olsen. 9, Owen Daniels. And 10, the new bear, Martellus Bennett. Looking at it, Greg Olsen is really one of the only options that Cam can throw to. I thought the Bears were silly when they made that move to get rid of him because it's something that they wanted for so long was a tight end that can catch. Because Desmond Clark was a great blocking tight end, but he did not have the hands that Greg Olsen possessed and the athleticism, the speed. And why they traded him for a 4th-round pick to Miami is still beyond me. But nonetheless, I think in Carolina, he's really doing a good job, and I think he has a big season.
Yeah. I mean, with the Olsen trade back to Carolina, I feel like it was stupid on the Bears' part because that's a guy that could be a security blanket for Cutler. And the reason that they traded him was because he didn't fit Martz's system. Well, what's stupid is how does a guy that's, 6'5", and that can run like a wide receiver not fit someone's system? That's beyond me.
Exactly, and that's the problem was that, and then look at where they've been since then. They haven't been able to find that tight end that was consistent.
Yeah.
And they finally now they have Martellus Bennett, who last year merged pretty well with the Giants. I thought that was a good pickup for them because, again, it wasn't a pickup where you say, wow, that really, big name.
Puts them over the top.
But it puts them in a better position than they were.
Yes.
And they addressed the need and they filled it very nicely.
Yep.
Gronkowski is all going to depend on how healthy he stays. He can easily be the number 1 tight end. He'd easily be out of the top 10. It really will vary from how healthy he stays. But if he is healthy, I could, right now I have him at 4, but I can easily see him at 1 or 2. He's healthy because Brady is really going to have to throw to him now with a lot of his weapons being gone. We'll go Pete, any opinions here on the tight end situation?
Well, Jimmy obviously is the class of this, of the tight end position because, well, he's got Drew Brees, who's obviously top quarterback, and he's got his guy, Sean Payton back, and Jimmy Graham is from the U, so obviously he's talented. Vernon Davis, I do like is number 2 because I feel like Kaepernick, if he's rushing out of the pocket, he's going to find Vernon Davis.
So big and athletic too.
He's so fast.
Crazy.
It's not fair. And Jason Witten, he always puts up great numbers because it's Tony Romo's little boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least he stays healthy.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what's great about Witten. He's like consistent and he stays healthy. So you gotta love that as a fantasy owner.
Right, and we both have Tony G at 5. Last year we got very lucky and struck gold with Tony Gonzalez.
Yes.
A guy who is not, he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt he will be a future Hall of Famer. But in fantasy-wise, it was kind of like a hit or miss with Tony. And last year, he emerged and had one of the biggest seasons I've ever seen from a tight end, especially someone that was under the radar for a while. And I think this year, he will still have a big year. I don't think it's as big as last year.
Yeah.
But he still is a viable tight end in top 5. We'll do our sleepers and our bust. Pete, start with you for the tight end position.
Sleeper back to Baltimore. I'm gonna go with Ed Dixon as my sleeper because with Dennis Pitta out for the year, Flacco's got to throw the ball to somebody, and I feel like they're gonna get down in the red zone. Ray Rice can't always be an option, and neither can Torrey Smith. So I feel like Ed Dixon might get those like little red zone touchdowns. My bust is my guy in Green Bay, Jermichael Finley. He has so much potential. He's 6'5", he's fast, but the problem is I don't know where his head's at, and I don't know where his hands are either. Okay, and that's not good when you're a tight end and you have no hands, which I believe he doesn't. Aaron knows it too.
Even Dan finds this really hilarious. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I love Jermichael Finley. I love his athletic ability. It just, I can't trust him because he should easily, with the talent that he has, he should be a top 5 tight end. But I don't know if he has it in him to be a top 5 tight end.
Jermichael, he's scolding you even more because he is a Packer fan.
Yeah.
And he's very, very disappointed in you.
Because I'm pretty sure you led the league in drops for a tight end last year. So that's unacceptable.
Oh my. Oh, yeah, oof. Get your hands right, get your head right, let's go. My sleeper, I have the new Bear, Martellus Bennett. I think he will murder. I think Jay's going to find some comfort with him and find, hey, this guy's got some good hands. I can hit this guy in stride. He can make some big plays for us when Brandon's triple teamed all the damn time. So he's going to need some help. I think Martellus is that guy. But bust, though, I'm going to look to Detroit and say Brandon Pettigrew. Pettigrew is going to depend on what the other guys around him. I understand that they only have is Calvin Johnson as a receiver, so Pettigrew should be a viable option. But I think that he's just going to suffer from not getting ball thrown to him a lot, maybe this season. I think Reggie Bush is going to take away a lot of his catches. I just don't see him being a great option this season. We'll go to the top 5 defenses. We don't have a sleeper or bust for this because it's a defense. Really, it's not hard. Just got to think a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll give you our top 5. I'll start with myself. At 1, I have the Seattle Seahawks. 2, stick in the NFC West with the San Francisco 49ers. 3, the Houston Texans. 4, the Patriots of New England. And 5, the Monsters of the Midway, the Bears.
For my top 5, I got the best defense in the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers. 2, I got the Seattle Seahawks with Pete Carroll's crazy pass rush. I got 3, the Houston Texans with J.J. Watt. 4, I got the Denver Broncos. Primarily, I mean, they're a good defense. I love Von Miller. But it's primarily based on how bad the division is and how bad the division's offenses are.
A lot of interception thrown there.
Yeah. In that division.
Yeah, rough.
Mostly just Philip Rivers. But
ooh, you really just are on him right now.
I don't like him. I don't like Philip Rivers.
Yeah, against him, my lord.
Number 5, I got the Chicago Bears because they turn the ball over all the time.
They create turnovers.
They
Yeah.
create turnovers all the time.
Oof.
And
That's Jay that turns the ball over all the time. guys.
Jay turns the ball over all the time. But their defense is always looking for strips. They're always looking for the ball. You always got to be careful when you're around that Bears defense. So I got them number 5.
Yeah, I agree with all of those. I think those are all viable options as a defense. The defense is also something that, I was in a draft the other day where a kicker was selected in the 4th round. It was Matt Bryant. And I literally had to stop and think, are you high? This isn't like some special league where field goals are worth 20 points.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing. Why are you drafting a kicker in the 4th round? I don't draft my kickers until the 15th, 16th, however, if it's out of 17th.
Whatever the last round,
right? And
second to last.
And the defenses, I usually aren't going to go and grab a top 5 defense until I see either I'm getting around 13th, 14th, maybe the 12th round, or if I notice in like the 10th, hey, someone took Seattle, or one of those other top 5, I look and go, okay, am I sitting all right? I'm probably going to grab one. But any of those defenses in the top 5 will get you some good points. Hopefully get you some shutouts this season, get you the bonus points. As you break down, Pete, a strategy maybe for a team. Where's more or less, where's your favorite position in the draft and why? What kind of strategy going into a PPR draft?
For PPR, I would like to take a running back.
This season in particular.
This season, there's, for the running backs, obviously, based on the past, you want to take a running back. And it looks like most of the running backs, especially in a PPR league, try to get a running back that can catch the ball too.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't so just one-dimensional. Unless you can get a guy like AP who's just a flat-out stud, it really doesn't matter. But there's a lot of running backs like McCoy, Spiller, Jamal Charles. They can catch the ball out of the backfield, so I would try to lean towards them instead of guys like maybe Marshawn Lynch, who doesn't catch the ball as much, or other running backs like Frank Gore, guys that really don't catch the ball as much. Try to lean towards guys that can actually make some grabs and run the ball as well.
Yeah, I think when I look at it, I like to draft somewhere, depending on especially if you're, like for me, us in particular, we're in a league, we're in a keeper league this year. We get to keep AP with the privilege of keeping Adrian Peterson in the 4th round. That's where we picked him last year. God bless us. Someone was looking out for us on that one. But I look at it as, if you can grab a running back that can get, like Pete said, can catch the ball out of the backfield, that's a really good strategy to have in a PPR league. And the guys like Steven Jackson, Marshawn Lynch, Frank Gore, those guys are guys you fill in as your second running backs, or even your third. Yep. Those are guys when your big, flashy guys are on bye weeks, you plug them in, they're still going to get you touchdowns, and that'll still help you out a lot. I think if you look, guys like Aaron Rodgers, when do you think would be a proper time to grab somebody like either an Aaron Rodgers, a Megatron, or even a Jimmy Graham of some sort?
Definitely Rodgers would be maybe late 1st round, or or early 2nd. Like I would take quarterback like Rodgers or Breeze. Wide receivers, I'm really, scared of, I guess, in a way, to take in the 1st round. I'm really scared to take those because those are always dependent on other players.
Right, I think
and I don't really like that.
If you're not grabbing Megatron right off the bat, then you can kind of wait a little bit and maybe into the either with Rodgers, late 1st round, early 2nd round. See how the running backs are panning out.
Yep.
Because this season in particular, I noticed it last year as well. People grab running backs like this. It's just so fast, and you run out real quick, so you have to grab them while you can. Especially with AP being healthy again, it put him back into that elite number 1 spot. So now all these running backs are really clustered into that top 10.
Yeah.
And I think if it depends. If you're in a 10-team league, you really should stick with your running backs and go for a guy like Rodgers, like Pete said, late 1st, early 2nd, maybe even mid-2nd if he's still there. And you're also a great option with Drew Brees, or even, I think Cam, you wait a little longer, but Drew Brees and Rodgers are perfect options in the 2nd round, I think. A guy like you said, receivers are very dependent. And AJ Green, if you're lucky to get him in the 2nd round, or even a 3rd, that's awesome. Calvin, for the most part, is probably going to be gone in the 1st round. That's just how people draft. That's just how it is. Not everybody grabs a running back right away. They try to hit him on the backside. So I think Calvin is probably the only receiver I would see go in the 1st round.
And then I would say for quarterbacks, there's not much of a difference like
Once you get
said,
past
yeah,
them, yeah.
I mean, once you get past like really the top 5, there's not much of a drop off between 5 and like 15 in terms of quarterbacks because this is a passing league. There's going to be a lot of yards. There's going to be a lot of touchdowns. Now, it's not much running back oriented anymore. So I mean, it's not that big of a deal. If you drafted a couple running backs and a couple wide receivers, don't be frantic like, oh, I got to get a quarterback now. You can just wait and draft other guys, and because quarterbacks really there isn't much of a drop off. So
Right, the guys like Stafford and Dalton and other people like Luck, they're all still going to be there late. If you
Yeah.
don't get a Rodgers or a Breeze, there's really or like a Brady or a Manning or Cam, there's really no rush to grab one then at that point in time. But I agree with that, and I think that this season, particular fantasy football, is going to be pretty fun to see and how draft pan out. I hope you enjoyed our fantasy football podcast. Me and Pete giving you a little insight. If you have any questions, you can always tweet us at Second City SC, or just want to know our opinions. Feel free to answer. Comment on our Facebook page. You can like us at facebook.com/Second City Sports Chat. And always check us out on YouTube and hit that subscribe button for us. We appreciate it. Leave comments, whether it's criticisms, positives, whatever. We love it. Thank you very much. YouTube.com/Second City Sports Chat. Until then, I'm Ryan Ebner, and for Pete Argus and Dan the Freakster, we will see you next time. Peace.